So now it's time for our sponsored perspective portion of the program, which is programmed and presented by our sponsor, the Rate Coalition. I'd like to welcome on stage Michelle Dimarab from the Rate Coalition. Michelle.
Good morning. As a founding member of the Rate Coalition, whose companies and associations represent nearly 1/3 of the private sector workforce in all 50 states, thank you all for attending this morning's discussion exploring the prospects for tax reform. On behalf of Rate's members and our bipartisan Rate co-chairs who are here today, I am hopeful that the ideas and perspectives discussed at this morning's event with the Hill will inform the tax policy work that is done on the Hill. In addition to Chairman Hassett and our 4 upcoming panelists, it's a particular honor to welcome Congressman Neal and Congressman Peter Roskam. Ways and Means Tax Policy Chair Roskam and Ways and Means Ranking Member Neal are emblematic of the bipartisan belief that the time has more than come to ease the burden that the U.S. tax code places on job creators of all sizes. Recognition among leaders of both parties of the costly consequences of having the highest corporate rate in the developed world is widespread and growing. From Paul Ryan to Tim Ryan, Chuck Schumer to Chuck Fleischman, Democrats and Republicans agree the corporate rate is too high. With a combined rate of nearly 40%, the level of which we tax our job-creating businesses is a full 15 points higher than the OECD average. And so while cracking the tax code might well be the theme of this morning's discussion, there is no doubt that countries across the globe have cracked that code over and over again during the last 3 decades. Although America's record-setting corporate rate has remained largely untouched since 1986, other countries the world over have continued to lower theirs. And in the process, American businesses and workers have paid the price through lower wages, opportunities, and less investment in hiring. Simply put, it is long past time to enact meaningful tax reform with a rate that is as competitive as our spirit, one that unleashes and not undercuts American prosperity. Nearly 31 years ago, when reporting on the '86 Tax Act, a single headline in the Washington Post summed up tax reform perfectly. Quote, "The impossible became the inevitable," end quote. No doubt that the obituaries for tax reform will certainly be written more times than we can count. After all, tax reform is a daunting endeavor. But so too are the consequences of inaction. That is why the Rate Coalition continues to remain committed to working with policymakers on both sides of the aisle, in both chambers, and on both ends of Pennsylvania Avenue to get tax reform done. Finally, Rate's members might be well known to Wall Street, but it is Main Street where their businesses are located and where their employees and their suppliers call home. With that in mind, we'd like to share a brief video featuring Main Street business owners from across the country. It serves as a reminder of how connected we are and why tax reform is critical to increasing opportunities, investment, and greater economic growth right here at home. On behalf of Rate's more than 30 million employees across the country, thank you again for joining us this morning. Our coalition is here to fix the rate, and we hope that you will join us in making tax reform a reality. Thanks.
Rate is a coalition of companies and organizations advocating for sensible corporate tax reform. Our coalition represents 30 million jobs in all 50 states, 1/3 of the private sector jobs in America. We want a tax code that's fairer and simpler to spur job growth, stimulate the U.S. economy, and make us more competitive globally. We believe that a lower corporate tax rate would increase incentives to invest in the United States, benefiting not only our members, but American workers, consumers, and the countless suppliers and small businesses we rely on every day. Small businesses all across America are part of our supply chains. When we're more competitive globally and at home, they have more orders to fill and more parts to build. And they recognize that when Rate Coalition members succeed, they succeed as well.
I'm Zach Model. My company is Atlas Toolworks. We were founded in 1918, so we'll be 100 next year. We're located just outside of Chicago in Lyons, Illinois, and we're a precision manufacturer. From airplanes to radar systems to telephone systems, we make parts, pieces, components, and assemblies that go into pretty much all the products you see around you today.
My name is Karen Wright, and I am the president and CEO of Ariel Corporation. And we are a manufacturer of natural gas compressors in Mount Vernon, Ohio. If you use gas to heat your home, or if you use natural gas for power generation, probably it's been through an Ariel compressor. The guy that did the machining on it, he puts his initials on there. And that's because he's proud of it. He knows he's done a really superb job with it. And that is true of every single thing that we make here.
2008, 2009, like a lot of people, found myself out of a job. We started HomeSense in 2009, started out of our house like a lot of small businesses. We employ 15 people and serve most of central Indiana.
I'm Rebecca Bainick. I'm the CEO of Neutral Posture. We're the only woman-owned furniture manufacturer in the United States. We have 85 employees at our Bryan, Texas facility. We started in the garage, and little did we know that we were going to be able to grow the company like we have.
We've adapted and changed many times. You know, being in business 100 years, we've been through 2 world wars. This is my purpose in life, to hopefully add value, create jobs, and hopefully come out ahead by the end of the day.
Growing a business is difficult. There are thousands of decisions we have to make, and we hit April 15th with our fingers crossed.
Tax season. It involves 2 people from my accounting department, pretty much full-time for a couple of weeks.
It shouldn't take hours and hours of agony to pay the government.
We don't have a fleet of lawyers or accountants or people to deal with that stuff. It's me late at night dealing with it. I'm not just competing with the people next door, I'm competing with the people around the world.
We're competing with companies that pay much lower wages. They don't have the same regulations, and then they have a 25% tax rate. So their tax rate is effectively 15% lower than mine, and I'm having to compete with them bringing product into the United States.
Now we're competing with the Chinese and the Russians and the Indians and the Europeans.
If we want to compete in the global economy, we just need a lower corporate tax rate.
Which absolutely means more innovation and more jobs, more competitiveness locally and globally.
Any money that we can save on taxes is money that we can put back into the company.
We want to pay our fair share too. It's not about we're looking for a handout or we're looking for some break. We just want it to be fair.
If you want less of something, you tax it. We haven't really translated that same concept to our business growth.
It would be a really good idea for the federal government and state governments to recognize that helping us to be successful is a whole lot more beneficial to them than punishing us with high tax rates.